It's Matt from Z93's Morning After, joined on the phone this morning by John Boecklin, drummer for Bad Wolves. And John, a big week for Bad Wolves because your sophomore album, Nation, arrives on Friday. How excited are you guys to get the album out there, get it into the hands of your fans?
We're very excited. It's been a long process, and it feels like the record's been done for quite some time. It's been a whirlwind since the first record, and we really, grinded the ass and got this record done, and been doing videos and interviews and all that stuff. So yeah, come October 25th, actually play a show on the day your record's coming out with Marilyn Manson and Bush stuff. It's going to be a good little celebratory moment of everything that we've accomplished.
As you guys began writing, recording the album, was there any concern about the dreaded sophomore slump? I mean, there have been plenty of bands that have had huge success with their debut album and failed to recapture that magic on the follow-up.
No, not really. I know what you're talking about, and I feel that way with any record I do. Like, I hope it's better than our last one. But I feel we're all very well prepared and have the tools, the know-how to deliver a record that is comparable and of quality to what we did on our first record. In sophomore slumps, maybe this record won't sell as much, maybe it won't do as well, but it's damn well a good record, So a sophomore slump to me is writing a terrible second record musically, which we did not do. So I'm happy, and I'm not worried about a slump.
I've got to imagine that following up the success of Disobey was a pretty daunting task. I mean, you guys had a platinum single on that album. You had #1 singles. Those are pretty big shoes to fill on this second album, Nation.
Yes, but one of them doesn't seem is not something a shoe I will ever fill again, which is the success of Zombie, because it's based around a very serious tragedy of a woman dying who wrote that song, who was going to sing it on the day we were going to record it with her, and that spread like wildfire as a press release. That's that lightning in the bottle kind of, and I don't mean that in an exciting way, but like the recipe for that will never happen again. So, but yes, I'm more concerned about living up to our own music's expectations, which was Hear Me Now and Remember When, both going #1 at radio, and Killing Me Slowly seems like it's, I think it's at number 12 right now, climbing faster than the other songs did. So I feel comfortable where we're at and how the new song is being received at radio, and how I'm excited to see what the more deep-cut fans think about the heavier stuff we did. Just keep moving forward. I think we're doing just fine right now,
Joined on the phone by John Boecklin, drummer for Bad Wolves. New album, Nation, is out on Friday, and the first album was basically written before Bad Wolves really became a band. It was you and Tommy kind of working together, and the album was ready once you kind of welcomed everybody else in. How different was the writing process this time around as opposed to Disobey?
It was very similar to the first one, except for exactly what you think, that the other members were a bit more part of it. Like Doc Coyle has pretty much what I consider Doc Coyle's song on the record. He pretty much composed the whole thing. And Chris Kane was also came in and stepped in and wrote a song called Fuller Friend. He had a lot to do with that song as well. So things are expanding, and the process didn't change of how we write, but the members were chose to be more involved because, A, they were in the band this time at the time things are getting written, and they wanted to. And we hope that continues to just kind of become more and more of a comfortable situation where all five of us write together. Sometimes it's easier for one person to just do one thing because it's less conflicting, and people, it's nice to not have so many arguments about music. But the fact is, if you want an organic band, you gotta, the other members will be writing, and we'll have to, deal with other people's opinions and argue until we get it right.
You've talked about in other interviews Nation being a step in the right direction. What do you mean by that?
A step in the right direction in terms of, I'm trying to think, I don't know, that's a simple line. It could mean a lot of things, but to me, right now, if I've said it before, it's kind of that the first record felt disjointed in terms of it's either heavy as hell or it's a radio song, where I feel like this record is kind of a much wider circle, that everything feels a bit more natural from one song to the next, kind of keeping our demographic in mind, which is so wide, which is why the circle of kind of music realm that we do is so wide. But we definitely kept some of the arrangements a little bit more simpler, and when we did heavy, we made it not so technical, although still stomping, to make sure that we're not really losing ourselves and alienating ourselves and just writing a brutal tech death metal record, which we can do, but not the goal, based on where we realized where our fan base lies after our first record.
Joined on the phone by John Boecklin, drummer for Bad Wolves. New album Nation is available on Friday. And I'll be honest, it's pretty amazing that you guys found time to record a new album because you've been touring relentlessly since Disobey was released. How did you guys find time to get together to record an album, or was it basically done on the road?
No, I hate writing music on the road. Might write a riff here or two or there, play guitar a lot on the road, but never, I just don't enjoy it at all. So any day we get home from tour, it was usually I would book the studio the next maybe 2 days off or 1 day off and book it, and then just go until we left for the next tour. And it didn't really seem that daunting or tasking to me because the studio and writing is what I enjoy most about the music business. I don't enjoy touring as much as I do. I love writing music. That's the most biggest payoff mentally for me. So it was a lot of fun, but yes, none of it was really written on the road. It was mostly all written on the days off we had.
It's interesting that you mentioned that touring isn't your favorite thing to do because you guys do it a lot. You've got 2 major tours lined up once the new album is released. You're going to tour the States in just a few weeks with Five Finger Death Punch, and then you'll join them overseas with Megadeth. Those are a couple of massive tours that you get to go and play these new songs on. Yeah,
we're really excited. We're in rehearsals right now, which is what I'm going to next after I get off the phone with you. And touring is not my favorite thing to do, but it's part of the job, and I'll damn well show up every day and do it. And then this tours are going to be exciting because finally, we're doing things like that we weren't able to afford on the first record. Like we've got a little bit of production. We've brought our own light guy, so we're going to have our own light design and package, and we're bringing some stuff to the show that people haven't seen before. So that's pretty exciting for us, and to make the shows a little bit more spicier, and also getting to play new songs. So it's going to be a breath of fresh air for something that I said before that I don't always enjoy doing, but there'll be new spices to it that will keep it alive for me.
You guys have spent a lot of time on the road with Five Finger Death Punch. Zoltan is managing you guys. How much has their camaraderie meant to you over the years with the success of Disobey and getting to kind of watch them night in and night out?
The camaraderie of the band, I mean, it's really, I'll try to say it as quick as possible, but it's undescribable because, Zoltan, their manager, is our manager. Correct. He makes these calls, and lets us be on their tours, but also, can you imagine being in that band too? The other members, like, really? We're going to bring them out again? We're going to help out your band again? But they still are like, hell yeah, come on out. They've been nothing but open arms, the whole camp, the whole band, the whole crew over there, really took us in and treats us with respect, and it's beyond words how gracious they have been to take us where they have and continue to do so. And without them, our career would not be where we are right now. That is just facts. So it's almost like, on your knees kind of thank you, because it's unreal,
Obviously, it's a good thing to have the guys from Five Finger Death Punch in your corner, but you also have one of the greatest Marvel villains of all time in your corner as well. Tell me about Bad Wolves' relationship with Thanos. Josh Brolin, he's actually introduced you guys at a show before.
He did, yes. He came out to our L.A. show and gave us a little intro. Our relationship with him is that Tommy and him know each other through recovery, and they've been in meetings and they're friends and and stuff like that. So I think Tommy and Josh were talking on the phone one time on the bus, and they just kind of were joking around about him coming out, but then he took it seriously and he wrote himself a little speech and came out, introduced us in Los Angeles, and it was quite fun. And us being every other member of the band is not really friends with him, so us getting to actually I did not get to meet him that day, but the other members did, and being fans of his movies and stuff was cool for everyone.
The new album Nation is out on Friday. You guys have got some big tours planned. I know that a lot of exciting stuff happening for Bad Wolves, and I'm sure you are pumped, as you mentioned before, to get the new album out there and get out on the road. So, John, I appreciate it. I know you've got rehearsals to get to, so I appreciate you taking some time to chat, and looking forward to hearing the album on Friday.
Absolutely, and thank you guys for the support. It means the world to us, and we'll see you out there on tour. And come by, have a beer, and say hello next time we're in town.